Recording in progress.
Good afternoon and welcome. To Hillsborough Education Foundation's webinar on grant writing. Thank you for joining us and spending your lunch with us to learn about writing a grant. And my name is Angie Anthony. I'm the Director of Grant Programs. To let you know, we will be recording this webinar. So if you miss something, you'll be able to access the webinar on our website next week. So let's dive in. I want to start by going over our learning objectives. We're going to review navigating our grant portal, go over some best practices for grant writing. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about our review committee's priorities and considerations. And then I will discuss our post-award responsibilities if you are awarded a HEF grant. But first, a little bit about Hillsborough Education Foundation, if you're not familiar with us and our beliefs. We believe strengthening public education builds a better community. We believe that public school success is vital to our county's prosperity. We believe that effective teachers are foundational to student success, and that a community engaged in making educational excellence a priority will transform Hillsborough County. And our contribution just in the grant program alone last year was 172 school and classroom enrichment grants were awarded, and they totaled about $141,000. So let's start with the grant portal best practices. First thing you're going to do, getting started, you want to brainstorm some ideas, but you don't have to recreate the wheel. You can go on our website and you can see what's been funded in the past. I wanted to start by showing you one that has been funded in the past, and we'll return to this slide later after I've gone over the sections individually. But I wanted to point out something in this particular grant. Number one, you don't have to write a book. It's not, don't have to write a ton of material. Number two, what was interesting about this particular grant that I wanted to point out is that under the project goal, the teacher lists that the students are going to be observing and learning from seeing the chicken life cycle. And then under how it benefits the students, again, it's that learning about and experiencing the life cycle of the chickens. And under expected outcomes, the outcome will be that students will be able to describe the development of the chicken inside and outside of the egg. So I'm trying to demonstrate how this all kind of ties together. Might seem a little bit redundant, but it's tied together. And we're going to deep dive during our hour together. So this is the detailed cost summary, which I don't like that it's called a detailed cost summary because it really just needs to be a summary, which she's done nicely. And then you can see how she listed the items that she wanted to purchase, and then it totals up to $327. The very first thing you want to do after you've got your idea is go on to the district's website for the Grants and Research Operations Officer, and I have the link here, the bit.ly link. You can also find a form on your Staff Hub webpage, but there is a form that needs to be completed to notify the GROW office that you plan to apply. You do need to apply one form for every grant you pursue. Then you can head off to our website, and this is the bit.ly link to go straight to the to our site. You can also just navigate to educationfoundation.com and navigate through on the links for teachers. If you're new and you've never applied for a grant with us before, you're going to need to click on registration and use your district email address to register using your first and last name with the @hcps.net extension. Once you're logged in, at the bottom of this screen, you can see a little bit of what it's going to look like on the screen, and you're going to click that big green add a grant request to get started. And it's going to bring up this page. Now, I'm not going to read everything here because we're going to deep dive into this, but on this page, there is detailed instructions that you can download, which you're going to hear everything that's on them today, but it's nice to have them handy. And then you're going to click continue either at the top or the bottom. As you can see, the green buttons on the right, the top and the bottom of the screen to continue, which will take you to where we start to enter some information. So the screen is going to look, the right-hand side of the screen is what your screen's going to look like once you've advanced to the grant application. As you can see, it pre-populated my name as the teacher administrator. Going down, you're going to enter your employee ID number. Your school should be pre-populated from your registration. The next thing you need to do is indicate the grade levels that your grant is going to impact. So this is a drop down, and it's going to allow you to pick a single grade or a school range. And if by chance your grant is impacting two grades that may not be, together, or the other drop downs don't fit, just pick the one with the highest percentage of students that will be involved in your project. The next thing you're going to have is category. You'll be able to select your category. It's all the things you would expect. It's a drop down. Has STEM and science individually, math, English language arts, character development. If what you're looking for is not there, please just select other. And then the next field is the requested project title. So you want to use something catchy here, but I'm actually going to come back to this on my next slide because I want to tie something to it because that'll be public. After that is the number of students impacted. You want to indicate the number that are impacted this year. So if your grant has a component where maybe the items will be able to be used in the future, I'm going to show you later where you would indicate that. But for this numerical field, just put in the number of students impacted this year. Next field is the deadline, and you can see here it's optional. For the most part, I would say don't put in a deadline unless you have something that's really concrete, because here's what happens. If you put in a deadline, either way, when you post a grant and we have approved it for posting on our website, it's open for other donors to come in and peruse through our website and see what needs you may have. And once you put a deadline in that field, it will disappear from the website, and then grants are no longer considered after that deadline passes. So I would only do that if you have a really concrete reason that, say it's a field trip or something like that, and after a certain date passes, it isn't going to be of assistance. So the next field is for an image. You can choose a stock image, or you can upload something of your own. Now, remember I said I would come back to project title. So what this slide is showing you is the screen that donors will see, that anybody can see on our website. And you can see here it has the school name, the subject, and project in the middle. So that's where your project title is going to go. And so naturally, you want something that's going to grab the interest of donors and the reviewers. This is also a good place and where I would suggest you maybe go to get some ideas. The next thing you're going to see is the project goal. So we're going to want the goal of your project. So you want to explain why this project is needed at your school with supporting facts and data. What is it that you want to accomplish? What changes or improvement in knowledge, behavior, skills, scores are you wanting to achieve? Also think about, is it measurable? And when we think about that, partly because you'll have to do some outcome reporting, and a good way to do that is by doing a pre and post test. So that's a way that you can demonstrate the improvement. You also want to avoid too much educational jargon here. The review committee is not made up of all teachers, and donors certainly aren't all teachers as well. So it's important to explain fully in terms that the average person could understand. How does the project benefit students is going to be the next field. So this is where you're going to describe exactly what you're going to be doing with the students. So lots of details here. Be descriptive and specific. This is where you're going to state your implementation timeline and identify the relationship to learning curriculum. So thinking about that example I showed you in the beginning, where she indicated that her goal was to teach the life cycle of a chicken, and that is what the students are going to be learning. Make sure this is aligned with your stated project goal, and address measurement, how you're going to measure. That's what you where you would do that. So our next slide is expected outcomes. This is where you're going to describe what you expect to change or improve in the students. This should be related to the goal as well. You're looking again at what is the grant going to accomplish, and make this measurable where possible. So you're looking at things like increased test scores, or if you're looking to purchase books, maybe you're wanting to increase reading rates, increasing the number of books checked out, increasing reading scores. What improvement are you going to see? And then this is where, under expected outcomes, if your grant items are going to live into the future and impact other teachers and students going forward, this is where you would indicate that. So like books, they're not going to be just a 1 year and done. They're going to live on. So here we are back at the chicken life cycle slide. And I just wanted you to see this again. So now that I've explained kind of what you should be doing under the project goal, and how project benefits students and the expected outcomes, you can see how these tie together. So the next thing you're going to see is what is on the right-hand side of this slide. And this is where you can enter row by row, item by item, what you plan to purchase with your funds. So grants are given from $100 up to $2,000. You want to make sure that the products that you're planning to purchase align with what you said the students would be doing in the how the project benefits students section. So this is itemized. You want to include things like vendor names and quantity and colors. The first example I give you here is 20 wired JVC headsets at $10 each, or $200. So you don't need to do 20 line items with one headset on each one. You'll be able to just do one line item, but indicate the detail that you're purchasing 20 and they're $10 each. And then under total cost, you'll enter $200. If you're purchasing books, I know sometimes the list is 200 books long. You don't have to list 200 titles here. Whoops, sorry, I went forward accidentally. Coming back to our slide, do want to make sure everybody makes sure that the items you're purchasing are in compliance with school procedures, district policy, and state statutes. This is also where you're going to include any shipping and handling fees, so don't forget about those. And reviewers like web links. So you can see at the bottom of this itemization where it's got that detailed cost summary, you can put web links down there, or even under the item description row by row if you want. So I have a few more items about this. Still talking about the itemized budget section. Do want to remind you that the school district is tax exempt. So if you do put in tax, we are not able to fund tax. You will have the choice of being receiving your funds through Class Wallet or having a check sent directly to the school. And with the check sent directly to the school, you'll be able to use district vendors. You can use others, but that would be on a reimbursement basis through Class Wallet or through your bookkeeper. There are some items that we are not funding this year, and that would be room decor, things like pillows, any furniture, including if that furniture is like for storage. Those are not things that we are funding. Subscription-based software, gift cards, and technology such as iPads, tablets, printers, or computers. And after you have completed this screen, you're going to want to either save as a draft if you want to do some more thinking about it and come back, or submit request. Once you hit submit request, your request is final. And you can always reach out to me and I can put it back into, I'm so sorry, I advanced again. I can put it back into draft status for you. But otherwise, you won't be able to make edits once you have submitted the request. After you've hit submit request, the next thing that happens is we review it for public posting. So we'll review it to make sure that it has all things that are allowable, that it doesn't include any of those things that HEF is not funding this year, or actually, usually you just get an email from me saying that. I give you the opportunity to adjust what you're planning to purchase if you want, or you're welcome to apply for those things and have it out on our website for other donors to see. You will receive a notification that your grant status is approved. And what that means is it's approved for public posting. Approved does not mean you were funded. Once it's approved for public posting, you will then be able to promote to your social media right from your grant page. And at the bottom of this slide where you can see share and the Facebook icon, you'll be able to click on these and it'll push all your grant details out to your social media for you. You can also email this. So we recommend you do that. We have a lot of teachers that receive funding. They've used their list of parents, friends, family. You'd be surprised who steps forward. So that's always a good thing to do. Help us promote your grant. If you are funded, the grant status then changes to fulfilled, and you will receive an email notification. Some things I wanted to share with you, some examples. This is a grant where a teacher used some of the standards to write their grant. And this was a great idea. And it's perfect, really. So you can see in the first one, they've got the standard number and then describe how animals and plants respond to changing seasons. It's pretty straightforward. So this was a good idea and a well-written, a good way to write the grant and how the project was going to benefit the students. I wanted to show you this one because, as you can see, what I've put a red square around is the expected outcomes are very clear. This teacher expects 70% of students to make at least 1 year's worth increase in reading and math as measured by their grade level growth monitoring assessment. So she's also told us how. And it does, if you read through these, you can read through these once they're posted. And I will send the slides out as well. You'll be able to see how this all pulls together. So the next thing I want to tell you about is our review committee. And they do have some established priorities, and that is looking for projects that provide innovative and enriching activities for students. They're looking for things that have curriculum-based items such as books and instructional materials. They look for projects that support teachers in providing quality instruction. And they do prioritize Title I and Transformation Network schools. We do not only fund those schools, we fund all schools, but those are prioritized. Some things that they consider. They look for whether or not the grant defines and anticipates improved student outcomes in response to the stated goals. They're looking for student growth and learning being demonstrated. Is there interactive or hands-on learning opportunities available for the students? Is there a plan for differentiation to meet individual student needs? Does the project include authentic learning experiences, or is it a capstone project? They also like to see the details in the budget. So where I showed you line by line, definitely include your detail and make sure it aligns with what will be done with students. Next thing is the lifespan of the items. The review committee does like items that live on. They also evaluate the cost per student ratio. So they may look at a grant a little bit differently if it's for $2,000 and only impacting 10 students, as opposed to one that's $2,000 and impacting 100 students. And of course, they look for originality and that innovation is apparent. So you want to get their attention and kind of wow them. So next is the post-award responsibilities. So you've been awarded, now what? Well, the first thing you're going to do in that email that you receive, there's going to be a link for you to fill out a quick survey, and it's going to ask you how you want your funds to be sent to you. Do you want them on Class Wallet, or do you want a check sent to your school? Of course, go forth and have fun. At the end of the year, we're going to ask you for a brief online outcome report to be completed, and also a thank you letter from you, the grant recipient, as well as student thank yous. So you can just have them do some little notes or draw pictures, whatever's applicable to your grade range. And then we really, really like to have pictures. It's a wonderful way for us to be able to accompany those thank yous to the donors so they can see exactly, the joy in the students' eyes, and that helps us get more funds in. So always a good thing to have pictures. And now I want to review the timeline real quick. It's pretty simple. So the grant portal is open. It opened on the 15th of July, and it's going to be open until January 31st of next year. We are in the midst of priority funding, what we call priority funding. So we have a nice pot of money that we are going to begin meeting and spending. And we want to get you guys started on your projects. So we'll spend a lot of money up front until about September. And at that point, the grant review committee meets about monthly. And we do continue to secure funds throughout the year. And we continue to fund projects and do notifications until February. So the portal closes on the 31st, but we're still doing notifications after that, after it closes. On the 31st of January, the portal closes and no more applications will be accepted. All funds need to be spent by March 31st. At which time the bookkeepers either need to return those funds to HEF, and if you've been paid through Class Wallet, the funds will be removed on April 1st. So if there's anything left in your account, it's going to get removed. So make sure you spend down your Class Wallet account. On May 5th, we expect all projects to be completed, along with that brief outcome report, the donor thank you letter from the recipient, and thank you notes from the students. And while the pictures are optional, we really, really appreciate them. So I have some quotes. These are real quotes from teachers, and excuse me. I wanted to share these with you. I'm not going to read them out loud. I'm going to use this time to look in the chat. If you have any questions, please place them in the chat. And I'm going to send a message out here. I will answer your questions. We'll just give this a minute. But I liked these quotes. You can definitely see the impact made to the classroom and to the students, the growth that was received, and the improvement is definitely demonstrated. And I'm not seeing any questions. Sending another message out. It's a pretty simple process. We try to keep it easy for you. Okay, well, there's not a whole lot of us on this call today, but like I said, it's being recorded and will be posted to our website. If you have any questions afterward or while you're in process or you're not sure about something, please feel free to call me or email me. Below is my information, and I'll be happy to walk you through. If you want to ask me if it looks good, or I think you should add something, I'll definitely give you feedback. And I'm still seeing no questions, so with that, I will conclude our call. I'll give you some time back. Maybe you can actually eat your lunch. Thank you so much, everybody, and I really look forward to seeing your applications. Have a great day.